when it blows through my bones. I got a dose for it. Wanna know more? Cause it's about what I got to show for it.
No, but like they are pretty clever when it comes to
The music.
They are pretty. Yeah, the music is fucking great. Like, but they are kind of clever when it comes to this propaganda, because they like when they have a picture of all the criminals, like they make sure that there's like one black criminal and one like Hispanic criminal and then one white criminal, just so that like nobody can criticize them for like making all the criminals like non-white. and then like when it comes to like giving all the pro-police like rhetoric, they're gonna have like a Hispanic character or whatever saying how the police is so great, where it is still like, you know, advocating like a basically supporting white supremacy, but they're doing it in like a, you know, pretty sneaky way.
Oh, I wanna try something real quick.
Yes. Much better, bro. I couldn't stand that fucking fake ass salsa music. Tropico 6, baby.
This is Mateo, the 13-year-old son of Mexican immigrants living in Los Angeles. Mateo's parents, Juan and Lucy, moved here just a few years before he was born. They operate a small convenience store that serves a largely Hispanic neighborhood. Before immigrating to Los Angeles, Juan and Lucy run a small general store in Mexico. They worked hard to make their business successful, but cartel members began harassing Juan, demanding money for protection. The threats got so bad that Juan and Lucy decided to embark on the long and expensive process of applying for a U.S. green card. When their application was finally accepted, they moved to Los Angeles and found a large, welcoming community of fellow Latinos.
Yeah, and there were no issues along the way whatsoever. Just don't think about the process of them getting into the country. It's definitely not super difficult or anything. You definitely won't get whipped by the Border Patrol. Yeah, they applied and they got in. So don't think about it.
After even more hard work, they were able to open a new grocery store. Soon, Mateo was born, followed by his two sisters.
I don't know how they opened a new grocery store, because I guarantee you that opening a grocery store in LA is fucking significantly more expensive than opening a fucking grocery store in Mexico City. So, yeah, this is already a pretty utopian vision.
And the family was
I'm sure this all actually happened. I'm sure they didn't just completely pull this one out of thin air.
Yeah, this is a true story. Just so we're clear here.
Thankful for their life in LA. Then, in May 2020, George Floyd, a black man who resisted arrest and was held under the knee of a police officer.
And they're all like afraid. They're like all like just terrified of Black Lives Matter.
Oh no, black people.
No, not Black Lives Matter.
I know.
This is how they framed it. Like, they didn't say, oh, an innocent unarmed man who was just fucking executed on the street corner, like by a fucking roaming death squad. They just said like, oh, a black man who resisted arrest, who was held, who was merely held under the knee, and then he just died, like as if it was some kind of accident. And
he had a medical condition. It had nothing to do with the knee at all. He had a medical condition.
As if it wasn't like it was at least like, I mean, I'm of the opinion that it was deliberate murder, but if you want to contest that, then it was at least like fucking grossly negligent, like manslaughter, like, and not a reasonable like oops, like a reasonable accident, like.
He just did an oopsie. He just did an oopsie. We all make oopsies sometimes.
I mean, his fucking knee slipped on his neck. Dude. I mean, what do you expect?
It's like, I mean, I don't know if Finney, you might not have heard about this, but on the subway in New York City, a homeless person was choked to death by an ex-Marine because he was yelling in the subway that he's starving and he's hungry and that he doesn't even know what to do anymore. and he was just extremely distraught. But because he made other people on the subway feel afraid, this ex-Marine decided to step in and put him into a chokehold for 15 minutes, which led to his death.
Yeah, you know when you strangle somebody accidentally for 15 minutes straight and they die, like when it just,
It's like, yeah, I mean, I wish Zach was here so he could talk about this, but like there's no fucking way that you would put somebody in a chokehold for 15 minutes and not expect them to die. There's just no fucking way. Like literally,
you squeeze their neck as hard as you can for 15 minutes until you see like fucking life just drifting out of their body, and you're like, oh, I mean, it was an accident.
Yeah. Oopsie. Oops. And
what the fuck do you expect to happen when you do that?
The guy didn't get charged, by the way.
I mean, you just shoot them 10 times in the head by accident with a fucking rocket launcher.
It was just an oopsie.
Died while in custody.
He died while in custody. Okay, yeah.
Although this happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota, fiery protests and riots erupted in cities all around the United States. Activists claimed that the police were targeting the black community and purposefully killing unarmed black men. As the false claims of racial targeting spread, so did the anger and violence. Throughout the summer, Mateo and his family were shocked and worried as they watched on the news where neighborhoods around LA were being burned and looted. Politicians,
Okay, they always they always do this shit when it comes to the BLM protests. I was at 9 different BLM events in my area, in my region. I traveled a lot around the Northeast, went to many different events. And I can tell you from my personal experience, which I have a lot of, looting was something that I literally did not see at all. I'm sure it happened, but it was so uncommon that like me, somebody who went to many different BLM events, many different BLM protests, vigils, etc., I literally did not witness that shit at all. And also like burning shit, like as far as I know, like the only shit that was burned was like that was like actually burned down was the fucking police station. I know that some fires were started here and there, but it's not like LA was just being fucking torn apart by BLM. It's just a complete fucking exaggeration.
Also, it's like they're trying to make it the same. They're trying to make it the same thing like as the Rodney King like riots, but like. Ask yourself, like, why was like even the thing in the first place? Oh yeah, it's like 9 officers like beat to death of like fucking Rodney King on video camera.
Somebody asked me to go back.
That type of behavior is still very fucking prevalent in Los Angeles. I mean, it's like a joke. There's like so many fucking deaths and caused by specifically the LA sheriff's deputies department. Like. It's really fucking bad.
Yeah.
You remember
motherfuckers getting killed with their hands up and shit in the back. Most of the time these people are not even shot in the front. They're shot in the fucking back, dude. Like
when you're defending yourself and you shoot somebody in the back who has their hands up and who's like their backs towards you.
Yeah.
In a threatening way.
Yeah,
their hands up in a threatening way.
They put their hands up and turn their back to me in a threatening way. Like I feared for my life.
It's resisting.
Remember the police officer who was like wearing a disguise and was like tried to like infiltrate into the protest, and who was just like smashing windows and shit and then like vandalizing lazy things, and then the protesters were like, dude, what the fuck you're doing? And it was a police officer.
Yeah, it was a police officer the whole time. So
somebody asked me to go back like 10 seconds to read what the teleprompter was saying.
Happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Fiery protests.
Let's go.
Did you see what it said before that too? It said fucking Venezuela oil. Venezuela oil down, PragerU up.
Let's go, dude.
Minnesota, fiery protests and riots erupted in cities all around the United States. Activists claimed that the police were targeting the black community and purposefully killing unarmed black men. As the false claims of racial targeting spread, so did the anger and violence. Throughout the summer, Mateo and his family were shocked and worried as they watched on the news where neighborhoods around LA were being burned and looted. Politicians, activists, celebrities, and even major corporations began to demand reform or complete abolition of the police force. Mateo wondered, who would keep his neighborhood safe if there were less police? And what about his family's store? After all, he had just watched protesters smash store windows.
I just want to say something real quick about like the whole idea of like abolishing the police. I would say that like naturally like BLM is a little bit ideologically misguided because of course it's the prominent force in the BLM movement was just a left-leaning liberalism. And so, you know, when they talk about abolishing the police, they're talking about having more community-friendly resources that are accessible, providing housing, dealing with the issue of crime at the base, you know, fundamentally, rather than having an expansive police force. I don't think that, and of course, like, just to mention, I mean, I'm sure we don't have to say this, but the corporations, of course, are not being fucking genuine at all when they say abolish the police. They're just literally,
bandwagoning.
They're profiting from a trend, right? They see abolish the police as a trend, and they're taking advantage of that. They don't actually genuinely believe in that shit. Of course, corporations don't. They depend on the police. But those who genuinely believe in abolition of police, I really doubt that they actually mean like, oh yeah, let's just completely get rid of the police. And especially like from the conservative like perspective, like, oh yeah, let's just have no law and order whatsoever. Like the whole abolish the police movement is about addressing the issues at fundamentally. But naturally, as is typical with liberal ideology, like that's not enough. You can't even do that in capitalism. Capitalism depends on the state. It depends on the forces of the state. And whatever reforms or progress you might make within a capitalist system for the working class, for the lower classes, they're always going to inevitably be dismantled. So really the only solution to police brutality is socialism.
I would like to add on to say, like, abolishing the police isn't gonna like fix the problem, because like if you can like defund the police or abolish it, right? In terms of abolishing it, that just leaves the security apparatus to private interests, right? The last thing we want is private fucking armies patrolling the streets. But and defunding the police, right? Defunding the police isn't any better, because if you don't have the political power to keep that defunding in place, they're just gonna refund the police. So it's a question of a political power. And also, ultimately, it's a question of like the basic democratic struggle of the community over the police department, right? It's a public institution. So in essence, there has to be political power within the community to give oversight in these institutions, to put them in the hands of the community, to give them political power to do so. And I would like form it on the basis like a school, like a union school district type of thing, not just some like powerless oversight board, right, where they can just advise the police not to kill black people, and they should be like, okay, but like to have actual hiring, firing, power, to have actual political power over these institutions.
There is no whatever, and like as you were saying, whatever like funds that are taken away from the police, they're just going to be distributed to either other sections of the state apparatus or literally just in the pockets of the rich. So again, like, it's just misguided liberalism. But that's not to say that BLM was a bad thing. It was actually a very good thing. BLM was a incredibly important movement that us communists should absolutely support. So yeah.
steal all the merchandise, and even set the buildings on fire. He also saw videos of angry protesters blocking traffic on freeways, threatening police, and intimidating restaurant patrons.
Oh my god, this is so lies. This is literally lies.
They're blocking traffic. Oh my god, it's so terrible. They're traffic. They're
performing the right. They're performing the right to assemble. No.
They're blocking the circulation of capital. No. And also threatening the police. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Funny.
Gee, like the police were literally fucking kettling protesters, shooting. I mean, look, I got fucking pepper sprayed in the directly in the face at a BLM protest by a cop. Okay, I got fucking whacked with a baton on my fucking back, which hurt like a motherfucker. Because I was trying to help this black teenage girl who's still in high school from getting fucking pulled away by the cops. Freddie experienced the exact same shit. They were throwing fucking tear gas. They literally had like fucking tear gas grenade launchers that they would just shoot at to protesters indiscriminately. They were just beating people indiscriminately, fucking snatching them up, putting them in zip ties, literally
just brown bagged and like taken to like never to be seen again, like literally shooting fucking rubber bullets.
Trump had like a fucking secret police that was like going around in unmarked vans just picking people up and fucking just pulling them into the fucking van. They were like geared up in masks and shit. They looked like a fucking Navy SEALs or something, just like pulling protesters up the street. I mean, honestly, anybody who is actually at these protests can tell you that the violence was not instigated by the protesters. It was instigated by the fucking police every fucking time. Every time.
Also, the fucking police deserve to be fucking threatened, especially the California police departments. Because it's like they have the California police departments, especially the fucking sheriff's department, have a history, like a rich history of killing unarmed people.
Right.
Just for the fuck of it. And especially in LA, the deputy sheriff's department is infested with fucking LA police gangs. It's prominently the ones I know are the Executioners and like one of the very prominent ones is the Executioners, and given the name, I don't think they take in people to the station alive, so you can see how they're
right,
and they're and they're very like either like hella racist towards there's many like police gangs within the sheriff's department. There's ones where they're only racist to a particular group of people, whether it be Hispanics or just specifically black people. And there's ones where they're just like straight up like fucking neo-Nazis,
white supremacists,
or just people who just like to fucking gun down innocent people.
Yeah, they just enjoy exercising force, with immunity.
Also, like the fucking, this goes back to like the whole border thing, right? The nationalism video, like in San Jose, right? The the head of the police association there was responsible for a huge fucking opioid ring within the country. Like they were the ones like importing huge amounts of fentanyls and using the police association as the headquarters for that operation. So it really shows you how not only the police institution itself like kills innocent people, like regardless of their race or whatever, but like, and like their institutions that protect the police, they're so-called police unions, which are just basically just clubs, right?
Yeah.
That not only protect the officers from being fired or being charged or prosecuted, because they're protected under those collective bargaining agreements. And it just goes to show the deep like inhumanity and fucking the destruction and the overall corruption within these fucking institutions, whether it's the fucking police department, the sheriffs, the police associations, or even the DA office. Which, by the way, they're all in cahoots with each other.
I saw a comment that recently, or a little while back during BLM that somebody did, and they were like, police discrimination against black people is not real because in 2020, 200 and something black guys were killed by, or black people were killed by the cops, but 400 something white people were killed by the cops. So there were twice as many white people killed than black people in the year 2020. And so how is that discrimination? And it's like, well, you know, this is basic fucking math. Like maybe if you paid attention in school, but black people make up 8 to 13% of the population. So the fact that the fact that the ratio of black people being killed by police is 1/3 is like, you know, like 33%. Where the total population is only consisted of 8 to 13% black. Yeah, no, that's literally discriminate. Like it's just like basic statistical fucking math.
What do you mean, Polinkosh? Like, I mean, are you saying that you can't just like kill unarmed people and also just like sell and deal massive amounts of fucking fentanyl without people getting mad? Like that's not nice.
That's utopia.
How would fewer cops be able to stop this type of behavior?
Oh my God.
The only cop that Mateo knows personally is his middle school's resource officer, Officer Suarez. Tall and smiling, Officer Suarez has a high five, a handshake, or a fist bump for each student as he walks down the hallway.
This is a true story.
Yeah, you know, they do the nay with each other, with the kids. They fucking like... They do TikTok videos with them.
And he loved to play with kittens and babies.
Mateo quickly discovered that Officer Suarez is, like him, a fan of LA's professional baseball team, the Dodgers. When Mateo revealed that he enjoys playing baseball too, the resource officer remarked that someday he'd hope to see him on deck to bat with the Blue Crew at Dodger Stadium, which made him smile.
Oh yeah, like imagine like.
Oh yeah, dude.
When you tell the police
the cop is just grooming the kid here. Sorry, Finny.
When you tell the police officer that you also like sports, like that's supposed to somehow impress them and like, oh yeah, like you're so cool. Like I'm totally not gonna fucking shoot you now.
So stupid.
Officer Suarez takes time to be friendly, but also has an important job to do. Mateo has observed him doing daily book bag checks and escorting strangers off of school property. Last year, when tempers flared and punches were thrown in the cafeteria, Officer Suarez sprang into action and quickly diffused the situation. Mateo understands that a resource officer is there to keep the students safe so that they can focus on their schoolwork without fear.
That's the state of America right now. Kids are definitely not afraid in school.
The U.S. is so fucked when you have like, there's like fucking, are the resource officers armed?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
they have armed police like at school, like
they
checking.
Yes.
Well, ever since people's bags with metal detectors, like
in LA especially, they got them.
Well, no, it's not even just
metal detectors and shit.
Well, it's not the metal detector, it's not the wand, right? They have a whole you have metal, it's like you're going to the airport basically.
Yeah, it's literally going to school in LA is like going through TSA.
They check you, they pat you down, I don't think I think they pat you down once
Yeah.
So anyways, they pat you down, you have to go through a metal detector. It's just it's completely fucked.
Yeah, they they use the fucking metal detector on your bag and shit, and they're just like, they're armed, so. But at the moment in the United States, the leading cause of child death is firearms related. So that's not to say that I'm for banning guns. I think that solution is much too simple. I think that the workers should be armed, but I think that there's a lot more that the state could do to protect. A lot better things they could do to protect. And ultimately, look, notice how all of these major school shootings happen. They start happening a decade after the collapse of the Soviet Union, right? After the institution of neoliberal economic policy, and literally you can correlate these things so closely, but as a neoliberal economic policy causes harder and harder crises, and there's a general decline of the global economy in terms of in terms of the welfare of the people of the world, the working people of the world. Obviously, the profits are higher than ever, but naturally the actual economic condition of the majority of people has gotten dramatically worse ever since the collapse of the Soviet Union. And as it gets worse and worse and worse, we have more and more and more shootings, more and more mass shootings. Those things are connected. They might not be necessarily directly connected, but the fact that, look, in the United States, the situation is bad. The rents are extremely high. Inflation is extremely high. It is extremely hard for you to, it's essentially impossible to sustain yourself on one income. It's literally impossible. Unless you're from a bourgeois or petty bourgeois family and, you can easily get a good job or whatever. But for the majority of people, sustaining yourself on one income is just not fucking doable at all. And so, of course, when the socioeconomic conditions are so bad, you're going to get a lot more people who are going to just fucking lose their fucking minds. They're just going to start doing crazy fucking things. So
damn, I do remember that one school shooter who was just like, I'm doing this because of neoliberalism, because of neoliberalism made me do this and shit.
Yeah, obviously they're not aware of that. Their interpretation is usually on the basis of racial discrimination or maybe just complete nihilism, right? So banning guns. I think that solution is too simple. I think that to address the problem of mass shootings, that has to be dealt with in a radical manner. We need to address these problems at the base, at the root, fundamentally.
He views Officer Suarez as a guide, a mentor, and a protector, not how he has seen police characterized in the news as mean-spirited bullies. Mateo has heard his parents talking about the news, and he agrees with them. They believe that improving police tactics would be beneficial, but they don't want to eliminate the police in their schools.
This fictional person agrees. Well, that's good. He's an authority.
Yeah. This is a true story, by the way. Honestly, it's really funny when PragerU does shit like this, because they're literally everything is just made up. It's literally just
graphs and the stats.
Yeah, even when they're actually trying to appeal to
fucking diagrams.
Yeah, even when they're trying to appeal to your rationale, with data, the data is all literally fake. But this video is not a logical appeal. It's literally an emotional appeal. The video is literally trying to make you feel good about the police, right? This is a completely fictitious story.
Imagine if I said you made a animated film that said like an animated short film that said fucking Bugs Bunny supports the OGPU, Bugs Bunny supports the Cheka.
Yeah,
so therefore it's good.
SpongeBob meets Stalin.
In their communities. In the past, Juan and Lucy would encounter occasional shoplifters in their store, but they were usually kids sneaking candy. Lately, however, adults have begun brazenly walking out with armfuls of goods, disappearing before police even have time to arrive. With crime erupting everywhere, Mateo wondered if Officer Suarez could help him understand what was going on in his neighborhood.
I'm really excited to hear this because honestly, crime is getting worse, but has funding for the police gone down? No. If anything, the police state has been more and more expanded. And so It's very odd that we have more and more police, especially more militarized police. Police. I went Chinese. Paris. I just went Chinese there. In the Paris. No, but yeah.
Damn, that was a fucking Freudian slip right there.
Yeah, the police are more militarized than ever, and yet there's more crime than ever. That's very weird, you know. I wonder if giving the police more funding is like, you know, it's like Einstein's quote, you know, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something to change.
If the crime literally, like the crime they're describing is that, oh yeah, some guy just walks into the shop and then just grabs like a fucking pile of bananas and walks out. Like, how the fuck could the police possibly like stop that? Like, is the police supposed to be there in like fucking half a second? Like, no. Like I know what they do here. Like here, because the fact is that like there's Finnish people who walk into a local grocery store and then they grab like a bunch of beer and then they just run out and don't pay. So like what they do is because there's no way like there's nothing the police can do. Like they can't fucking stop that. So then the stores, like all the local stores, they unite together and they all like hire a guard who like guards all the stores, and he's just there constantly to prevent the people from stealing beer. And then that, you know, seems to fix it, but like I don't see how the police, like how giving the police more money or giving them whatever the fuck they want, like a new like riot tank or some like whatever they, what exactly are they even advocating? Like, oh, people are walking out from the store with tomatoes, therefore we have to give the police like what exactly?
It's just, yeah, I mean, and I mean, like, just as an example of like what happens in the United States, like when somebody, when people try to shoplift or supposedly do. Just recently, there was a 7-month pregnant woman who went to a Walgreens, and the ex-cop security guard at the Walgreens thought that she had shoplifted, and so he asked her to you know show him her bag, and she refused, and she walked out of the store. And as she walked out of the store, and she was walking to her, she started putting stuff away in her car, and while the security guard was ordering her to stop. But she refused, and then he fucking shot her. He fucking shot a 7-month pregnant woman for shoplifting.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, that's very reasonable.
Can you imagine shooting somebody for shoplifting?
Yeah, I know. That's just one of 3 recent stories of somebody getting shot after supposedly shoplifting at a Walgreens. There was another story where a black trans woman was shot in a store for supposedly shoplifting candy. And then there was a third one where the fucking Walgreens like supervisor who apparently was carrying at work who shot a lady he suspected of shoplifting after he threatened her and she ran out of the store, and he shot her in the back. So
I mean, it's funny because they are like rent-a-cops that are just like fucking killing people, but like it's the same mentality with the police and the sheriff's department. It's like they shoot first and ask questions later. That's why there's really fucking killings.
That's literally how they be like that. That is the modus operandi for
not an innocent person who gets brutally murdered, but instead somebody who had cunningly stolen a bag of onion rings and just happened to die when they were shot with a rapid fire weapon into the back by accident.
When Officer Suarez asked Mateo how he felt about what he had seen on TV, Mateo admitted that he felt sorry for Mr. Floyd's family, but he couldn't understand why rioters seemed to think that destroying other people's property helped the family feel better. He knew that his parents had come to Los Angeles to escape the threat of violence and destruction in Mexico, but now the criminals in LA were almost as bad as the cartels had been. Officer Suarez asked Mateo.
BLM is just like the fucking
cartels. Just like
God.
the cartels, yeah. Let's not pay any attention to the fact that the cops are largely subdued by the cartels in LA.
Yeah, remember when BLM like cut Danny Trejo's head off and put it on a fucking tortoise?
They're like, yes, queen.
Definitely. When I was at a protest, we grabbed one of the cops. We skinned him alive. We poured water on his bare skin, and then when we were done, we chopped his head off and we put it on a tortoise rigged with a bomb, and we walked that tortoise into the police station, and that's how we burned down the Minneapolis police station.
I mean, Jesus Christ! Like this is like, I mean, it's just straight up just racist bullshit. It's like literally calling BLM a bunch of thugs.
Yeah, literally, that's what they're doing. Like that's literally what they're fucking insinuating here.
Officer Suarez then revealed something even more surprising. To protect and serve was not only the police's job, but Mateo's as well. First,
that's literally
he needed to protect himself by doing the things he knew he should, like doing his best on schoolwork and keeping out of trouble. Next, he needed to serve his community by helping his neighbors. Officer Suarez even revealed that there are programs in Los Angeles and all around America, like Neighborhood Watch,
Club.
Yeah, the Snitch Club.
which help neighbors look out for one another and connect citizens with their local.
I'm sorry, like,
does it really have a fucking Pinkerton logo on it?
Is that the Pinkerton logo? I don't know. Like usually when the Neighborhood Watch has like a dude in like a trench coat and a fucking top hat.
I mean, the Pinkertons had it was like an eye, and it said I think it said "We never sleep" or something, or what does it say? Like something like we like something about how it's like an eye that is always watching.
Yeah, I mean, either way, like. Has Neighborhood Watch ever like really done anything like beyond just like call the police on black people in their neighborhoods? Like, is that, like, I feel like I have never
Wasn't
heard
Zimmerman one of those? Zimmerman, the guy who also like killed some unarmed guy.
I think, well, I don't remember if he was like in like on like a Neighborhood Watch thing, but he was saying shit like, "This is my neighborhood. This is my neighborhood. You can't be walking around in my neighborhood." And it's like, it's just either way, like I've never heard of anything actually like positive, like coming out of Neighborhood Watch. It's just like, it's just the association of cop collars on black people.
Police departments. Mateo's mind began to spin. He could protect and serve his community. During the riot,
his head began to spin. The ideology was really causing him to go fucking crazy. He couldn't reconcile the fact that he's an immigrant minority that has to support the police uncritically.
Oh my god.
Riots, he and his father had helped board up windows. In fact, his father.
Oh my god. Yeah, they helped board up the windows. Oh my fucking god.
Father knew
Bootlickers Association.
Every shop owner on the street where their store was located. Maybe the adults could be block captains with the Neighborhood Watch. But was there even more he could do as a kid? The easiest thing he could do would be to say thank you to the police officers that worked in his neighborhood, and he started right there with Officer Suarez.
Oh my god.
Now, when Mateo kneels...
Yes, the best thing to do is to suck off the cops.
That's when Bugs Bunny decided that he's gonna join the fucking SS and like recruit his whole neighborhood into the brown shirts.
And then Donald Duck realized that the Gestapo was actually protecting him, and he needed to thank them.
Well, hey, listen. Every time you get fentanyl, just say thank you to the police.
Yeah, every time somebody dies of fentanyl, make sure you thank the police.
That's when Goofy decided he needs to start reporting on the Jews. Who are his neighbors.
Play the curtain.
I hope that they're about to say like, and every time he kneels down to pray in church, he prays to the police.
During Mass beside his sisters and parents, he prays for wisdom to know how to protect himself and serve his neighborhood. He smiles as he thinks about the new Blue Crew that he's chosen to support, and how good cops like Officer Suarez can teach other kids like him how to truly make a difference.
How does this make any sense? Like, nothing changed, nothing even improved or changed in any way. He just suddenly realized that, like, he likes cops or something, like, which he already liked them to begin with. So, like, what kind of sense does that make? Like, oh, this cop told me how they're cool, and now everything is, like, better.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't have to be good cops, you know?
Yeah, you just
it's not like, you know,
the police.
I mean, it's not like, you know, people that have those intentions go into the police, you know, institutions, and then, you know, next thing you know, they're being indoctrinated into the fucking executioners, like cutting down fucking, you know, people in the back. Yeah, it's like I would also like to know, like, the Thin Blue Line shit is like was considered like far right, like extremist terrorist like organization shit by the police, like I think it was like the police, not the police association, but like the department itself declared it like a far right fucking like terrorist shit.
Check out the video description. Like, is this really made for children?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it really is. I think this is for kids.
Yeah, the playlist says kids shows. So
yeah, this is
actually a propaganda cartoon made for actual children. That's kind of wild.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, it's very.
That's what makes it. It's what makes it very, like, you know, makes it 10 times more better as a pile of garbage.
Ironically, it's not any more naive or childish than the other PragerU videos.
Yeah, no, it's like completely. It's literally just same format.
I'm just glad that like Solzhenitsyn didn't like come in as like a spirit and like tell them about the gulags, you know.
Yeah, it's just like
I'm just glad that didn't happen again, you know.
Bandera, like, in a fucking just like huge, like,
Bandera, yeah. Well, honestly, PragerU is probably like, I think that PragerU's position on the Ukraine war is like that. I imagine they don't support the United States like giving money to Ukraine, at least not publicly. I don't know. I haven't seen
Donald Duck like calls the police on Daffy Duck and they kill him because he's black.
Concerning those police gangs, there was recent indictment in the sheriff's department where they have to have the whole like fucking police department, the sheriff, to reveal any tattoo, like gang tattoos related, to identify those who are in the police gangs. So now we'll know who, you know, who's who and shit, because they're like telling them to like reveal any tattoos associated with the gang and shit like that. So, you know, finally we get to see like how really bad it is. But for years, like, people have already made papers, like university papers on this shit. You know, police gangs have been here for a really long fucking time. But only just now we're starting to get the names of like only 30 police, like only 30 sheriffs.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, like, it's just, you know, like, the cops are completely fucked. And, like, also, you know, I mean, this has been said a million times, but it's like, yeah, okay, there are, like, a few cops out there that are nice people that, like, don't want to, like, actually hurt anybody. But nonetheless, they are all aware of the kind of violence and shit that takes place within their departments, and they don't blow the whistle on it because they know what happens to cops that whistle blow.
Oh yeah,
so they're completely complicit to all that. Even if they're good, they're completely complicit to all that. I mean, like, if you haven't seen the movie Serpico, I really recommend that you see it, because Serpico was a cop whistleblower from like 50 years ago, and the movie about him is really great. But yeah, like, and you see exactly like the kind of shit that goes down amongst the police, and not only that, not only the fact that like whatever small percentage of cops are like actually good people are complicit to what the bad cops do. But like the police, especially in America as an institution, originates from slave catchers and union busters. That's literally where the modern police state comes from. And so the system has been rotten from the very beginning. It has been based on state oppression and exploitation since its inception, since before its inception. So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about fuck the police. You know, it's not just that every cop as an individual is a bad person, like literally evil. No, the institution itself is evil, and whatever cops by themselves are, or at least try to be good people, they're automatically part of this evil institution. They're automatically complicit to it. So that's the point.
How many times does someone have to lie to you before you call them a liar? 1, 5, 20? It seems like many Americans are okay being lied to over and over and over again.
Oh my God.
The biggest whopper of them all was the Russia hoax, the entirely made-up story that Donald Trump, the candidate, and then Donald Trump, the president of the United States, was a Russian agent. This dark fantasy preoccupied the legacy media for 3 years.
Okay, honestly, I do agree with this one. I mean, like, yeah, no, this is obviously, but the thing is like, they don't understand like who is behind this shit, you know? Like the
leftist media, who are all a bunch of leftists oppressing the good American people.
Literally, they think that leftists invented this shit, when pretty much all leftists like patently denied this allegation. This was completely manufactured by the fucking neoliberal Democrats, you know? So it's like, yeah, neoliberal media sucks. Good job finally figuring it out, you fucking moron.
Involved dozens of interlocking lies.
And they they don't even recognize that it's not leftist, so he's still very much a dumbass.
Almost all of which were planted by Trump's Democratic opponent. Then there was the Charlottesville lie, that the president described neo-Nazis as very fine people at a press conference following a riot in Charlottesville, Virginia, in August of 2017. He never said any such thing. There's a transcript of the press conference to prove it. The real quote was, "I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists. They should be condemned totally." No matter. The media had
Okay, but he did say very fine people. That like they just excluded the fact that he did actually say that. But I think that what he said was, you know, there were there are a lot of people that came out today, you know, talking about both sides, and they're all very fine people. Like, he did say that. He did say, like, the condemnation thing, but, like, let's be fucking real here. Like, Trump is not being genuine when he says that shit, considering, like, when was this posted? Was this posted recently? Because, like...
Yes.
Yeah, it was posted after January 6th. So, like, honestly, it's fucking absurd to be like, yeah, see, Donald Trump doesn't support white nationalists.
Well, who the fuck, like, who went to the Unite the Right rally other than, like, white supremacists? Like, wasn't it so far right that, like, everybody who wasn't far right, like, decided not to go?
Yeah, no, they were literally doing, like, fucking Zeke Hiles and shit.
Yeah, so like he's saying, Trump said we condemn the Nazis, but everybody else was cool. Like, who else was there? Like, there was nobody else. Like, right. Trump was like shielding the Nazis by trying to act like, oh yeah, there really weren't that many Nazis. Like, they were mostly just cool people.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Manufactured the story, and they were sticking to it. Additional common sense evidence to the contrary, like the president has Jewish grandchildren, was simply ignored.
Oh,
or how about
God.
the laptop from hell?
God.
The computer that Hunter Biden left at a computer.
Well, like, whatever. Like, that's just so fucking stupid on its face. Like what? This is the same shit when they say, like, oh, Ukraine has a Jewish president, therefore there can't be any Nazis in Ukraine. Like,
yeah, like, that's ridiculous. Like,
there even were actual Nazis with who were like who had Jewish relatives or even were like at least partially Jewish themselves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, let alone like
they were rare, but they existed.
Yeah, and I mean, like let's remember like when there were like Jews who like during the Holocaust there were like Jews who literally were like servants of the Nazi officers, like so that they wouldn't get killed. So like sometimes and look at like what just happened with like that Latino guy who shot up what was it Adrian, what was it, a Walmart or something? And
yeah, it was a shopping mall.
Yeah,
it was a shopping mall.
He shot up a shopping mall. This like Latino dude, right? And he left a manifesto, like proclaiming the supremacy of the white race, and like how much he loves Adolf Hitler and stuff. And like this guy is like tan, like dark, like Latino, like tan, like he does not look like an Aryan, and it's just like
no.
so shit like that is like happens all the fucking time, like it really just affirms the social construction of identity,
Emails and text messages on the laptop suggested that his father, presidential candidate Joe Biden, was involved in corrupt business dealings with the Russians, the Ukrainians, and the Chinese.
Yeah, they all are.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say about the whole Russiagate thing. Like, yeah, the Russiagate thing, that was completely, it's just fucking stupid and it's fake and whatever. But like, Trump and Biden and all of them, they're all like, they all have business dealings with Russia. So
yeah, they all do this shit. They literally all do this shit. Like, you cannot tell me that Nancy Pelosi doesn't have dealings with the Chinese. Like, like that's just, it is insane to like actually think that Joe Biden is like exceptional in his illegal business deals or his corrupt business deals, whatever, like it's just so
or
stupid. Trump,
like they're both or like Trump, they're not exceptional. They all do it.
They're not exceptional at all.
Twitter immediately banned the New York Post story from being shared on its platform. Did the legacy media jump all over this egregious violation of the freedom of the press? No. They jumped all over the fiction that it was another Russian disinformation campaign. For the record, I don't care whether you think Trump is great or horrible. The issue is not Trump. The issue is truth. How do you determine who's telling it? One obvious way, as I've already suggested, is if someone or some news source lies over and over again, you may not want to trust them. Who told you that Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh was a sexual abuser and a gang rapist? Or that a Catholic high school kid cruelly mocked a Native American war veteran on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial? Or that mounted border agents used whips to control migrants at the Texas border? The legacy media, the corporate media, the establishment media.
There is, yeah.
So your eyes are deceiving you.
Yes, it's all an act. It's all
they're all crisis actors.
Yeah, they're all crisis actors.
The El Paso Times reported that a mounted border patrol agent was seen wielding a whip during an encounter with Haitian migrants. And joining us here in Washington is NBC News national security Washington is
fucking bitch. You should actually like let us see the fucking picture. That's like the most damning one.
In Washington.
I mean,
look at that fucking shit.
So like, are they claiming that the whip is for the horse?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're like,
they're just claiming that it didn't happen. Like they like, and because like, and that's because they know, like, because this is the thing about American politics right now. American politics is so polarized that the media sources on both sides of this, this liberal schism, they don't care about evidence anymore, because whoever's side that they're on, their audience is just going to like repeat their shit no matter what. Most people are uncritical of their news sources, which is the one truth about this video. But the fact of the matter is like Fox News They don't give a single shit about having evidence for their claims because they know that their entire audience is not going to look into it. They're just going to repeat what they said. And the same can be true for neoliberal news sources. Like, that's where American politics is at this point, where it's like both sides aren't expecting to actually change the other side, anyone from the other side's mind. They're just literally feeding off of factionalism.
I mean, it's literally so fake that both, like, quote unquote, both sides, like Democrats and Republicans, they're both like equally fucking corporate and equally capitalist, and they, you know, all the disagreements they have are just like, you know, just manufactured and stupid.
Just
like
evolve into like culture wars.
Yeah, culture wars and like essentially just like struggle for power. You know,
they're
like,
both so reactionary, like.
They just exist in separate camps, but they're like literally on the same fucking page on the fundamental shit.
Yeah, like they're both so reactionary that the Democrats, like, they like they try to use some kind of like anti-Russian narrative, how Trump is like a Russian agent. Like that's been traditionally a right-wing talking point, but now the supposed leftists, the fucking Democrats, they were the ones doing it. Like, it could have just as easily been the other way around, like Republicans calling like Biden a Russian agent or whatever.
Whatever you want to call them. They've lied to your face, and they'll keep lying. You can keep...
So, I mean, like, so he's literally saying that, like, none of that shit happened? Because there's video of the Native American shit. Kavanaugh is definitely a fucking sexual abuser. Like that was decided unanimously. So like these are all like these things are all like just patently true. So I don't understand if like, I mean, he must be like he must just be fucking like saying that shit didn't happen, which is asinine.
Yeah, he thinks if you just say it confidently, then people probably will believe it.
Yeah, like that's my whole fucking point about where American media is at today, mainstream anyway.
Believing their lies.
Which this is mainstream. Let's be clear here. PragerU pretends like it's not mainstream media, but it absolutely is mainstream.
Or you can show a little curiosity and take some responsibility. Read past the headlines. Consume information from across the political spectrum. Determine for yourself who deserves your trust and who doesn't. In the process, you'll be surprised how much.
I mean, this is such basic. This is so fucking basic. It's like, yeah, everyone fucking does that shit already. These stupid fun.
It's so cynical too, because like he's saying like, oh yeah, like you should read broadly from like different things, but when he's saying that, he knows that his audience is not going to do that.
Yeah,
like what he's attacking Democrat media, and he's expecting that his audience supposedly would like also go check the Democratic what the pro-Democrat side is gonna say about this. Like, of course they're not. Like,
of course not. Yeah, they're just going to like he's already put forward all of these like supposed truths, right? So it's like he himself is being the media in this situation, right? But he doesn't expect that same level of fucking, that same level of skepticism.